Hi everyone, welcome back to the 32nd episode of Get Your Deck Out. It is me, as always, oldemodave, and Scott, 11's MTG, and we are here with, I guess you can call it the Christmas episode, Scott, on the basis that Christmas will come between this episode and the next, and you're also a Christmas jumper, but we're not really going to be talking Christmas, like what to buy or anything like that. It's here to talk Magic the Gathering, as always.
No, our financial advice is exclusively Magic the Gathering takes. We will have no takes on Christmas presents.
Yeah, and also like actual Christmas is bad financial advice in respect of sunk cost.
Certainly is. Our capitalist overlords demand that we spend all of our money at this time. But
before you do spend all your money, we just wanted to say, if this is the kind of thing that you like, we've had this year, we want to say, give all of our thanks and all of our Christmas praise to the 745 of you who've hit that subscribe button, have hung around. There's a couple more of you across Spotify and all the other platforms like that who listen every week. Thank you ever so much, and we're getting really, really close to like doing this, and not necessarily having to come out of our own credit cards from time to time. So if you are listening and you haven't actually got that bell subscribed, hit that subscribe button, click on the bell so that you can be reminded when this is uploaded every week. We have uploaded this one a little bit later this week because it's Christmas, and we just didn't want you to hit a really boring dead episode next week when nothing had happened. But what we will be doing is coming to you with a little bit of a teaser episode or a statistical rundown of who is in and who got to our Get Your Deck Out 1K Invitational, sponsored by Full Fire TCG.
Yeah, we're not sure if we're doing that as a podcast or as a standalone video just yet, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see how it goes. We're going to have a guest on, hopefully, and can look at who qualified with what we expect the field might be looking like, that sort of thing. I know, Dave, you're heading down to Gloucester for it as sort of the figurehead of Get Your Deck Out, and especially from the tournament organisation point of view. I know
sneaked my way in. My way into into.
Yeah, we've got an event with Bath TCG as well, so we're starting to get out there a little bit. But if you enjoy, for some reason, me sitting here talking a lot of crap, we are going to be covering the event. We're going to be following you on camera because it's just the easier way to do it. It's just following the same player until they either do really well and you can follow the story, or until, in your case, probably, Dave, they get knocked out at like round 3 or 4. And yeah, I'll be solo comming it. We'll be hanging out in Twitch chat. It won't be super professional, I'll be honest. It's the 4th of January. I'm probably still going to be feeling the effects of Christmas and New Year. So we're just going to be hanging out. We'll be laughing around, looking at some of Dave's play. Last time I watched Dave play a match of Magic on camera, it was the finals of the RCQ that you lost to Doug. And I rang you after that match finished and berated you for certain decisions. But since then, you have been doing a lot better. So
we've been doing.
Don't say I never help you, Dave.
No, we're doing better. Had a lot of good time and reflection, and yes, lots of planning to think over the break. Is actually nothing to be sniffed at. You know, at the end of the day, there is like £1,000 worth of value on the line for like first place, and that is a lot in anybody's economy. And yeah, we want to like do the team proud, and some decks to think about, some decks to plan. Nearly got the two of us there. We're going to go for a second jaunt this weekend to play the team trios that event which was going on. This is the second to last qualifier. If you are,
I actually played a tournament, Dave.
Actually played a tournament. It's a great thing to mix it up. I think the decks on show were interesting. A lot of people making like meta calls and decision making to potentially, like, I don't want to call it angle shooting. That's suggested it's actually, with malice. I mean, like, to sort of give themselves better advantages in the room based upon either what they could scout or what they could say. And hey, we auto scouted ourselves last episode pretty much. But didn't quite get over the line for people we were with. But there is one more qualifier this weekend for
That's
anyone
an
who is
understatement
interested.
for me, but we'll get on to that.
Yes. So the standard as a whole has, I guess we want to say, leveled out. Is about the is a fair assessment.
Yeah, it still kind of is leveling out, right? It's not fully stable yet. I don't think it's fully been solved. We're still in the fallout period after Worlds, where everyone thought the blue-red lessons deck was the second coming of Nardu, Hogak, Vivi, Eldrazi, take your pick. It seems that it's not, and it is eminently hateable. Shout out to the people that spoke to me while I was at the event and said that our episode from last week was really helpful, saying about how to beat lessons. I played lessons in the event. I didn't win a match. But yeah, it was really interesting to see what people were bringing in the Team Trios environment, because things like multiversal passage, you don't really think about it. It's actually pretty important for a lot of decks. And I know your team was Boroid, a blue-green or a Boroid, Azorius Control and Lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And my team was Mono Red, Lessons, and Black White Pixie. So you end up making these decisions. Like Black White Pixie is probably not a deck that you'd ordinarily see in a high-level event.
No, not right now.
In terms of the cards it was taking from other people, the mana base was great. We got Rest in Peace in the sideboard in case they played against Lessons or Reanimator. Like it just lined up for that event. And that's the interesting thing with Team Trios, especially in a unified setting where you're making concessions everywhere, or you're putting decks forward where you don't need to make concessions.
Yes.
And like when we saw the lessons, we were pretty dead set I was going to be on some form of blue-red deck from the start. I had looting pretty much ready to go. Then when Worlds was happening, along with my own testing, I was testing a lot of the lessons cards, not with Artist Talent and Monument to Endurance, granted. It was closer to Derek Davis's deck, but the cards were powerful. I was enjoying playing with them. And then Is It Looting was a thing online, so got those pieces and was moving around a little bit. My partner's a mono red gamer, just always is, always will be, so that one was quite easy. The only card that really took from anyone was Soul Guide Lantern in the sideboard. But I suppose we can talk about Soul Guide Lantern specifically a little bit, in that at Worlds and at this team event, it felt really bad to play it against Lessons. Like it did a little bit. It was better than some of the other cards that you could play. But I think with the Lessons deck specifically, you want to have something like Rest in Peace or something like Leyline of the Void, where they can't nickel and dime you. They can't do weird stuff on the stack above the Soul Guide Lantern and still get the 3 cards out of the Accumulate Wisdom, because that's such an important piece. So is Soul Guide Lantern the way to go? Probably not, but
it's cheap and colorless though, right? Which I think
exactly everyone can play it. So there's a lot to look at with Standard. There's 3 different Is It decks, and it's not clear which of them is the best, if any of them are clearly the best.
True.
Ban Airbending is really well set up to be really good, at least with Lorwyn, when we get Hallowed Fountain and Temple Garden into the format. That's a huge get for them. But also, I'd be surprised if Lorwyn has no impact past that. I'm assuming that, like, Mutable Explorer, for example, like we saw Alex Hillier play semi-frog tribal
yes,
at the end of last season. Mutable Explorer is a changeling, and it makes a Mutavault. So all these kindred synergies, like, could we see Manifold Mouse come back in? Because double striking a Mutavault, that's no joke.
That'd be pretty good, yeah. And the like sort of initial Twitter, like who won RCQ calls as well, was a very interesting take. And there's a lot of Is It, admittedly, but there was also some mono red. There was also some Bant Airbending. I definitely saw probably an equal amount, if not more, looting than I did Lessons. I think that was probably more leaning towards the fact that people had basically looted in their back pocket because it was Vivi minus a few cards.
Yeah, looting's a lot easier to build, right? And it's let me just pull up a looting deck list, because I think the only weird cards in it, if you want to use weird in that way, is what, Tiger Seal?
Yeah.
But like Duelist of the Mind, not an expensive card. Fear of Missing Out is a card that a lot of people already have hold of, whether that was on a speculation of Gruul Delirium, or they've had it for Modern with Hollow One, or any huge pile of Pioneer decks to play it.
Yeah.
Quantum Riddler, yeah, it's a really expensive card. It is insanely expensive, but a lot of people do have them if they're highly
if you're a modern
competitive
player,
players.
you have it basically. So
Torch the Tower, not weird. Boomerang Basics and Storm Chaser's Talent, not weird. Roaring Furnace, again, it's really cheap. For what it is, Roaring Furnace is a really cheap card. Frostcliff Siege is bananas, just on the Teemo mode to give everything +1/+0 trample and haste. Like, you play that on turn 3, and then you go, cool, warp 2 Riddlers, draw 2 cards, hit you for 10, go. That's a big game, and that specifically is something that's really good against looting as well, because looting's like a control deck, but you need to tap out several times over the first 4 turns.
yes.
But you also can't play counter magic. So catching up is really weird, and I don't know. I mean, as I said, I didn't win a match with looting after testing it quite a lot and being quite confident on the mechanics of the deck. And I can sit here and I can blame Flood, because I did see a lot of lands over the course of the day. I can sit here and blame that people were gunning for it, but I'm not going to. That's not how you improve as a player. I can sit and go, right, what did I lose to? How can I combat this? Does the amount of hate, does the volume of hate mean that going into the RCQ season at the start of 2026, I need to be playing Is It Looting for a while? It's things like that that you need to consider. I can just sit here and go, oh, I flooded out loads. I didn't win a match. I lost to Bant Airbending when they nut drew me in game 1. And then I lost to Dimir Control, which was just felt like a really bad matchup, but took a game off them. And then I lost to Dimir Midrange, which is another bad matchup, but I took a game off them. The only way I lost the game when I did in game 3 was them having an exact sequence of 3 cards. That is what it is. That's just part of the game.
It's part of the game, and I think to go like to unified team trio, like game planning as well. The lessons deck is something that in a group of 3 players, you tend to put your better player on it. The correct thing for a trio event is put your better player in the middle, so that you can give assistance left or right quite quickly and quite easily. And a couple of the teams hedged their bets on that. If they had a deck that completely countered lessons, they put them in the right seat. And
yeah,
the percentage, regardless if you've necessarily like player on player, like you're actually putting a worse player up against a much better player, if you get the deck selection right, you completely even out the stats and the odds.
Yeah, it's a case of, we had 2 lessons players in the room, and both seat B. In fact, one on your team, one on my team.
Yep.
But it just is what it is. That's part of team trios. I enjoy some of the differences of team events. I wouldn't want to do them all the time. If I had to do it every 2 weeks, it would really start to grind on me, and I don't think I'd play as many events as if I can play solo, and my losses are my losses and my wins are my wins, and my mistakes only affect me, and everything like that goes into a team event. And the mental game, as I've said a couple of times on the podcast, the mental game is something I've been working on this year, and it's something I'm going to continue to be working on, because I think like my sequencing and mechanics is like fine, I suppose. There's things you can improve on. There's always things you can improve on. But my win rate in top 8s, when I've made them, whether that be in winner boxes or RCQs, is like 5%. There comes a time when it's not just, oh, I'm on the bad side of variance, it is what it is, to, no, there's a problem here. the only way that's going to get fixed is if I look at it myself. And I
Yeah.
assume it's just a pressure thing. I assume it's just I go, oh, well, this is now an elimination round and I need to win it or I'm out of the tournament. And me doing well, quote unquote, whether that's going like 4-2 or like 4-1-1, whatever, is all meaningless if I just lose in the top 8. So
yeah, it's a part of the game that's probably as well in the sort of more modern online world of what makes you good at Magic that gets like wrapped up between or gets forgotten about by those who, should we just say, you perceive on the surface as doing really well. Like,
yeah.
I can sort of attest to this from like years of grinding the Hearthstone ladder. That you got time, you got time, and you got better than average skill. You can be top 50 in the world.
Yeah.
You go into a room with the best 200 people in the world, you've got a completely different game on your hands.
Yeah, it's a completely different thing. You can sit at home with a cup of tea and stretch your legs whenever you need to and everything like that. But when you're at a tournament, the room might be too loud. Someone might be elbowing you in the side. It might be too hot, too cold. One of your socks isn't sitting right on your feet. There's a million different things that can affect you, and being able to focus through that and play your best is really important. And after that, yeah, obviously you need to learn and treat appropriately what is variance and what is. There was nothing I could have done, and well, was there nothing I could have done? How much do I need to analyze this? With the Team Trios event, I did draw an extraordinary amount of land. That was just is what it is, where in round 1 and round 2, shout out Dave and Jason, they were both remarking on the amount of lands I was discarding to my artist's talents. And yeah, that's obviously part of it. But even then, sitting in the car driving home, where my other 2 team members were sitting there chatting, they were talking about films. In my head, I was replaying as much of the games as I could remember and thinking about when I had 50-50 decisions, or what I perceived to be, say, 70-30 decisions. Did I focus in on one thing too much? Did I not consider what cards my opponents could have had, knowing how to beat lessons and thinking that the other players obviously would have looked at lessons and gone, oh, Annul's really good against them. I need to play more Annul's. So is there something I can do in the sideboard or even in the main deck which makes me less soft to Annul, because it's picked up a huge amount online and it's obvious that paper is reflecting that as well. So these are where you gain the edges and how you win RCQs, right? Those little micro changes. I don't think many people are going to completely brew up a new deck, go to an RCQ, run the tables, walk out with the invite, and then never get seen again, and that deck just fades back into the ether. That's not really something that can happen in the modern day of Magic, with the amount of data that we get from, whether it's from Magic Online directly, from MTG Top 8, MTGDecks.net with their win rate matrix. A million different sources of data, Arena as well, for Standard specifically, where people can play more games than ever, quicker than ever. All of the data is recorded for you and all of it's reported on, and it is put in front of you in a way that anyone can understand. You don't need a maths degree or a computing degree to work Excel to understand the data. And it will be, when I put a null in my deck, my win rate against lessons goes up. That's not surprising, but it's also good to see how much it impacts it. And then you can think, well, do I want 3? Do I want 2? But that's the beauty of where we're at with Standard. I think there are still some pretty serious systemic issues in the format, namely how good 1 and 2 drops are and how little mid-range there is, when the only mid-range is blue-green Ouroboros, basically, and even then that's kind of fake mid-range because it is just an aggro deck. It's just an aggro deck that plays a 4-drop because the 4-drop's busted. yeah, I wish they could stop printing cards like Boomerang Basics.
Boomerang Basics is incredibly good.
And it's 1 mana again, and it says draw a card on it again. I understand that they can't help themselves, but if they want to give us 3-year standard, they need to understand how many cards are in the damn format and what this density of 1-drops is going to do and is going to keep doing if they reward the wrong things, like with Artist Talent and Monument, or with Prophesidetic Memory, Up the Beanstalk, Corey Steelcutter. Take your pick, where you can go back to a world where Mantis Rider is playable if you want to, and they just need to get back further towards that. It'll mean that sets have less impact on Modern, which will make Modern players happy again, because you can have a deck for 6 years and play it for 6 years and blah, 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 all of that. But what do I know? I'm just a dude sitting in front of a microphone who has played the game for a long time. I'm not a game designer.
Yeah, do you think we're about to sort of, because this kind of period right now, obviously we've had Worlds, we've got an active RCQ season, but like you're saying, especially in the UK, and this is definitely a rant for a standalone video, is about like where RCQs are at, and I'm seeing and I'm hearing across all of the TO sphere that nobody can be bothered.
It's because the incentives aren't there.
Like, not even the stores, who are basically, I'm talking about the stores where they basically got a judge who actually works at the store, so their overheads are low and there's very little like resource cost for the kit, and they're incentivized to do the pricing 'cause it's coming out of their stock directly. They're not running them. They can't run they haven't been running standard because standard hasn't been firing. There's a massive shift towards Pauper, and you will see this. And again, full credit to them. I see the whole of Bristol this weekend. In the last 7 days, Bristol had 52 people for Pauper weekly. Sorry, 42 people for Pauper weekly. And they had 26 people for a pre-modern event. Now, thanks to the Get Your Deck Out Qualifier Invitational, they did get 10 for standard. Shout out Nick Brown for winning that, and we'll see him in January. But that's like the best number that they've had for standard in a week.
It's because pre-modern decks, by and large, are cheaper than standard decks. If you're not playing reserve list cards, pre-modern decks are cheaper.
But that's sort of the current state of people who want to play in paper. If you're gonna play, you can play online, and you've got to spend like a lot less money. There's a really great take, and I think it was, I'm not so sure what they call their podcast, but it's the group from Decked Out, which is like MTG Nerd Girl and Veggie Wagon and all that. And I picked it up from a short where they were talking about like the arena economy, and it's almost like the shift that has been to paper Magic has actually gaslit us into thinking the arena economy is okay. The fact that it's like, oh my god, I can't play Badgemore Cub because Badgemore Cub is $150 worth of a play set, but that's cool. I'll just play on arena because I just need to buy 4 wild cards, and that's $6.99.
Yeah, and it's just because one thing is worse doesn't make a bad thing good. It's the arena economy sucks. It always has sucked. It is so bad. When you had games like Hearthstone where they even had dusting, they had gold cards where you could literally trade it 1 for 1. They were essentially wild cards, right? It was gold cards.
Yeah.
And even then, that economy was not great, had some huge issues. They went, let's make this economy worse. Let's be more hostile whenever a reprint happens and support the players less. Realistically, when Arena came out, Hearthstone should have just been dead. I enjoyed Hearthstone when I played it, particularly Dungeon Run. I played
big enjoyers.
So many of them. I really enjoyed Hearthstone. If you held a gun to my head and said top 5 cards from games, I think Force of Nature or Savage Roar would be somewhere in my top 5 or 10.
Druid tokens, baby.
Give him the business. But Arena should have just blown it in half because Hearthstone was essentially simple Magic.
Yep.
And it didn't. Hearthstone kind of blew itself up by and large.
Hearthstone recently has probably, for the first time, got me playing it. And I will say why I'm playing it is it's with streamer Gamer RVG. Gamer RVG is one of the sort of, should we just say, like, it's probably like your equivalent of Pro Tour level, was One Worlds, and was actually playing a rogue deck where it was a lot of like shuffle bombs in, draw loads of cards, destroy them. I love those kind of decks. They're my favorite kind of decks, and I booted it up, and it wasn't too bad to get there. I did have to dust a little bit of my older collection, so some of my vintage Hearthstone did sort of hit the dust to get there. It was really, really fun to play, but what did I notice is, damn, there's gacha economy, there's gacha game sort of things everywhere. There's a big little, almost like loot bin in the bottom right hand corner where they want you to try one for free. Big little loot bin, because it's a little thing right in the corner. Like I'm doing it on the screen now.
It's a little thing. It's a little thing in the corner, but it's really like obtrusive and invasive. Basically,
it absolutely is. And
so it's small in size, but it's big in personality.
That's what I always say to them.
Or rather, it's completely devoid of personality, but you want to have it.
Yeah, and you gotta spend about 45 quid to get the like little pet thing that's always like the top prize. And of course, they will say to you, you can get it off your free spin. There's never a Twitter post when anyone gets
it's
it
like
off the free spin.
0.001%. It's like the 200 mil from the Squeal of Fortune and RuneScape.
Yeah.
Speaking of RuneScape and gacha, though, RuneScape 3 is actually starting to remove some of its microtransactions because it was part of what created Old School and what separated what's now RuneScape 3, but back in the day when we were all playing it, it was RuneScape 2. Evolution of Combat happened, and there was also really predatory microtransaction policies. And it just became like, do your daily tasks and then log off. And if you miss a day, there's loads of FOMO, so you have to log in every day. So it's more of a job. But they're actually rolling back some of the microtransaction stuff. And I don't think I've seen that in any other game. And I'm hoping it's a bit of a sea change for everyone and everything. I only play Old School at this point. But I really hope that makes RS3 just completely explode in popularity. And people turn around and go, actually, we can ensure long-term profits by not just increasing our bottom line and not doing the thing that we realistically have seen Magic do, which is sacrifice their long-term health for short-term shareholder profit.
Yeah, and I think if they haven't felt it, they should be feeling it because that, to keep the Hearthstone loop back in, is you just saw people who were like out of like Kibler's a great example, right? Like Kibler was out of Magic. Kibler was like, I'll just do it on the side, like picked up Commander at home because everybody was turning a quick shill buck in but like had enough of an eye taken off Hearthstone to go, cool, I'll just try standard again. And like standard this time last year was very fun. It was very
like he played a Pro Tour. He used his Hall of Fame invite.
He's actively playing. He's actively going to like sort of things like Spotlight Series and playing when there's playing at the events where there's either like limited or stuff that's a bit more there. But unfortunately, for like the accessibility of the game, yeah, you're right. Like we've literally been microtransactioned up the wazoo, but it's actually not so micro. It's like, it's just
180 quid booster boxes and 700 quid collector boxes. That's not a microtransaction. That's a fucking big transaction.
Well, currently landing at stores, and I've seen sort of like groups and sort of posts going up on Facebook where these PlayStation secret layers are landing because at the WPNs, and they're $59.99.
So what's that? A 50% increase?
Yeah, the foil one's $59.99 for like 6 cards, and they're not even all like Shockland, not fetch lands, or they're all not Force of Will. They're just Ragnarok or whatever his name is from fucking that God of War game.
Kratos,
Ragnarok. I don't know where I even pulled that out of my ass.
I think it's because God of War Ragnarok was one of the more
Ragnarok,
recent God of War.
There we go.
games.
Not so boomer of a response, and I was thinking it was.
I wouldn't
It's
go
close
that far,
but
yeah,
it's a long way back though, isn't it? And that's unfortunately the thing to say. If we think we can say this now, they can be acknowledging it at a board level and be sort of about in turn. This is something as big as Magic is the Titanic. Like, you can't just turn. You're going to have to decide to turn over a long period. So that's going to mean any Universes Beyond collaborations that were on the stack, they either had to slow them down or they had to stop negotiations. You are talking 2027.
I think we're at the point with UB now where people are just not happy with it, but they will put up with it because of the quality of Magic. And I'm talking predominantly about Commander, because you can curate your own experience by and large, and metagames are largely irrelevant unless you're playing CDH. That's my caveat. But if the game got more expensive over the last 5 years, but the game quality went up, I'm not sure we'd be having this conversation.
But like, how could the game quality go up? The game is good.
Because Standard's been a bag of shit for years.
True.
Whatever is causing that, whether it is decrees from on high about there being 7 Standard sets next year, when play design are saying, please, we are trying to play test with 4 and it is so much work. So if you're giving us 7 sets, can we get more play testers? And as I'm sure anyone listening to this who has worked in a professional corporate environment, you ask your boss for more people to come work there, or a pay rise, or better equipment, basically anything that costs the company money, and they go, ha ha ha, ha, no. And you just have to do a better job with the exact same resources. People end up getting burnt out, and then they either stop giving a shit or they leave. And plenty of people have left Magic over the years from their design and development team. You've seen big names move to Hearthstone. You've seen them move to Riftbound, Flesh and Blood. You've seen them go and make their own card games like Eternal, that sort of thing. All of those have not been able to reach the heights of Magic for various reasons, but it's not really because of the design of the cards so much. Magic has the backing of 30 years of history and longevity, and there are people like Dum Dum over here who feel so committed to the game that I'm just probably going to keep playing it. I have at various points thought, Jesus, this might be my breaking point. We're not there yet, but I don't feel excited about having to buy 7 sets worth of standard cards for next year to compete.
Absolutely not. And you're right in touching on that the secret layers aren't actually the problem. I will pop up actually for the visual listeners something, but Scott's currently seen it in Discord. This was actually the a board state of mind on turn 3 when we tried to relive Pioneer this week.
Oh, those are Magic cards. Okay,
that is they are legit Magic cards.
Did you play the Grease Fang I gave you?
It's in the holder. Hang on, let's see if we got it. Where is it?
Oh, we get to see Dave's head dent from his head.
For the audio listeners, I'm currently looking into my big pile of darkness where all my decks are. I had one box left over from where I was like, oh, maybe I'll make a commander deck, and it had like the visual seal thing, and it's in the visual holder. So
can we put that as like the thumbnail for the YouTube video or something? Just
absolutely,
that can be the explanation for the people that saw that and thought, what the hell am I looking at? Yeah, that was a gift. That was my Christmas gift to Dave.
Yes, because Greasefang, I've done the secret layer purchases of cars when they've come out. I've got the dump truck Parhelions. I've got the wanted poster Greasefang. I've got bit of triumphs in the store championship art.
Pioneer's dead, Lamau.
Pioneer is not very alive, but like the cool thing that Secret Lair enabled me to do is I got to take my favorite deck, I got to bling it out a little bit. It didn't have to just be foil, which I think we need to find a way to claw our way back to that's what Secret Lairs represent. Otherwise, you are going to ruin people's spirit. I think.
Yeah. Also, stop doing these FOMO drops. Stop doing these like drops out of nowhere. Like apparently they're doing that with the Dan secret lair, where they're just going to drop it at a random point. And
yeah, fuck off to that. That's just stupid.
Lol, it sold out in 45 seconds and you didn't get one, so now you need to pay 300 quid for it. Get stuffed. It's cardboard and ink and a bit of plastic. Print them to demand. You'll just make more money. Why do you care? You've never acknowledged the secondary market before. Why are you doing it now? Why are you printing a limited quantity of this?
We were just talking about, actually, because this actually is a very nice little segue to, as we were putting this out, I was watching the Riftbound creators talk about, obviously, the challenges they've seen with Origins in set one. They've actually straight up acknowledged it's not been acceptable, the price that people have had to pay for cardboard, and the fact that even stores who are registered suppliers, and I will call it out, Magic Madhouse, this one's for you, is you are currently charging £199 for a booster box of Riftbound, like set one.
What's RRP? MSRP?
It is it's £110. Is the RRP. So you are currently, as a main supplier, going over the top.
190% of the RRP.
Yeah, so basically, you are also charging £149.95 the Origins box, which is supposed to cost 30 quid. Because that is just ridiculous.
They can do that and people will just pay it because that's just the world we live in. But they also shouldn't feel the need to do it. And yeah, Madhouse are a big organization. They shouldn't be doing that.
But if I have to sort of sit on the apathetic fence, the market's dictating that they can.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's Riot's fault. But at least what Riot have come out and said is that's on us. But they also could just do the same. Spirit Forge comes out on February the 13th or something like that. Like February something. I'll get checked in the comments on this one. They could put up right now today on riot.com. Hey everyone, you can buy up to 6 booster boxes direct from us. You got to do it before the 22nd of December. And they could have some factory somewhere ready to go.
Yeah, and they would sell like that.
They would sell everything that they could print on cardboard. Mm-hmm. They would sell it from the direct. You would have the most loyal player base. You would still be able to ship to stores because organized play will be absolutely booming.
Yep.
And you would be fine.
Like secondary point of sale is going to be huge. It's going to be a case of you've gone and bought, say, 4 boxes from Rito, and then you turn around to me, who I've played a couple of games of Riftbound, didn't really feel like it was for me, but granted, didn't see a lot of the game, and all the financial stuff I've seen about it has just not exactly enamored me towards the idea of playing the game.
It's not going to lure you in, is it?
Yeah, you're like, there's one set out and the tier 1 deck costs 500 quid. Like, that is not acceptable, not even close. It's like if they printed Hearthstone in paper and Chillwind Yeti was 15 quid. That's just not an acceptable position to be in the modern day. They knew what demand would be like, and I have to assume that they've done it on purpose to drive that FOMO, to drive that desire to get hold of it whenever you can for whatever the price is. And then the next set comes out and everyone snaps it up and gobbles it up. And then scalpers are buying 1,500 boxes a set. And although apparently all the scalpers are leaving Magic now, and apparently Magic sucks for scalping now, and they're all going to One Piece, but
I've heard this.
Whatever they want to do. If you're a scalper and you're listening to this, unsubscribe and close the webpage. I don't want you listening to me because you are the scum of the earth. You are profiting off other people's FOMO and misery, and you're part of the fucking problem.
Yeah, and the stores need to hold the stores who like sort of react to these price rises need to also have held to account. That's why you've not got anyone playing.
Yeah,
like so.
That's why there's no OP. Like that's why that part of the reason why standard is failing is the price point of the booster boxes. When Avatar, they could sell it for $80, same thing that it used to be 8 to 10 years ago. We could buy boxes of Dragons of Tarkir for like 75, 80 quid routinely, and they had fetches in, and they had all sorts of really good cards that at the time were super desirable and super fun, and loads of them we're seeing play in standard. And now we have Avatar, granted, really powerful set, really, really powerful set, really fun set as well, really flavorful, really fun, on point with so many things. Absolute home run. Why does a booster box cost me £180 aside from your greed? There is no reason for that price to have more than doubled.
I think as well, like, we all know why it's doubled because they saw.
Yeah, because they can.
They saw that they can, but we've definitely seen a tide shift in respect of, hey, let's just stick this up because the commander players are lapping it regardless. Do you know what they're doing? They're not. Right? Like there's a definite you see the shift.
Commander players have a printer.
Commander players have a printer. Commander players have the kitchen table. Commander players have now established friend groups. They have Discords. They have things that they've met online. And when you've systematically killed the LGS experience by making it affordable to go to, by it almost being like your quote unquote pub for your grown up geek,
it's your third place, right? Like,
yeah,
psychologically, everyone needs a third place that's not work or home. For some people, as you said, that's the pub. That might be the gym, a sports bar. For us, it's the LG.
But once you've killed that off from a price point perspective, if you find your third place somewhere else, you don't need to go back to that place because, like, your dopamine hit is what you need it to be. Like your endorphins are what they need it to be. So, there's a lot of work to be done, and I think we'll probably do a completely standalone discussion around what we'd like to see in 2026. I think, unfortunately, though, what we'd like to see in 2026, we're probably not going to see till 2027. Like a great example of that,
at least.
And a great example of that is that we did just see this week a hiring of the new Judge Program Manager. This is finally news that's overdue.
They can finally stop Seth Manfield cheating on the Pro Tour.
Yeah, for God.
Fucking idiots.
That's not, I hope the algorithm picks that up because that's been a separate bugbear of mine. But I think I'll probably get chucked out of every Discord community that I've managed to worm my way into creator-wise if I bring up my disdain for the level of clickbaiting that went on around that. But
also, they mentioned this on Unsleeved, and just super quickly before we do talk about Samaha, it was raised on Unsleeved, and P. Sully said it. So if you don't listen to Unsleeved, it's Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin's podcast. Highly recommend it. Resleevables is incredible content, and their podcast is great. If you put a picture of Seth Manfield up on YouTube and you write cheater underneath it, what is that going to look like on Google? If someone Googles Seth Manfield and that's the picture that shows up, are you going to think he is a cheater in the game, or has he cheated on his partner? Like, the dude's got young kids. What if when his kid's 7, they jump on Google and go, I know my dad's famous, and Google that, and that's what they see? Do you have no shame? We are I would say, small YouTube community. That's how I define us. We're sub 1K subscribers. Every single person that is subscribed to this channel is a person and not a number.
Yeah.
And that matters to both of us a lot. And it's why we do the content that we do. And it's why we talk in the way we do. behave the way we do. And we've had so many discussions about what we can do that people are going to enjoy. And when I'm at a team event and people are talking to me and they say, I listen to the podcast in the car, it blows my mind that people are listening to us talk in the same way that I listen to, say, P. Sully and Pat Chapin talk. If you are using cheap heat from the current buzzy topic and you're using the fact that you can make a short out of it and you can get 1,000 views out of it, and that makes you feel big and clever, you're a bag of shit and you're also part of the problem.
Yeah. And there was multiple, and I want to like say that I think I've a lot of respect for like Sam Bogue came out and actually called it, and like, you know, if you don't, you should have seen Sam's videos. Islands Go Same is his handle, but like ultimately Sam Bogue is what you should have known by now, because his vlogs have been their vlogs have been excellent in the most recent times for the Spotlight series, and basically sort of did do their like shame on you like point at the people who are doing that. And I would gladly retweeted that and said I'm glad to see it was called out, because like I was fearful, like I say, as a small YouTube community, that if I kind of like pointed at the big YouTubers and went, that's not very nice, they would just they having that predatory way of attack were just gonna come and go, fucking shut up, you cretin, and that you wouldn't do that openly. But actually, it gave me great strength to basically say on the podcast now.
I don't care who retweets what. If any big creator wants to come at me and talk about my values, come at me.
Yeah, you were part of any of that. I have no respect for that. I will put a little box around your video that you did there and say, okay, you did this video, what I don't like this, and I will not turn around and say every video you do about it next is scummy, but I will say to you that that's the kind of stuff that when you're having a hard time, or where your videos go down, or you need to call out to community like I can't pay the bills at the moment. Well, you should never build the platform on completely clickbaiting like people.
But also don't build a platform on hatred. I know that we will sit and we will have a bitch and we'll say, scalpers are scummy, Magic Madhouse shouldn't be charging £200 for a box of Riftbound.
This is factual, though.
But it's not a campaign of hatred. We're not saying, hey, listeners, don't shop at Magic Madhouse, they're Nazi sympathizers. We're not just making shit up. Seth was at a point and he did something and he asked his opponent, can I take that back? And his opponent said yes. End of fucking story. You can have a discussion about slow play. That's fine. But at no point was anything done that was against the rules. At no point was anything done that makes me think that Seth Manfield has ever cheated. He has got a remarkably clean record when you look at other really well-respected players in the sphere. Just a name off the top of my head, Marcio Carvalho. Fantastic Magic player, unbelievably talented. Really unlucky to have lost as many World Championship finals as he has. He has a history of cheating and being disqualified for cheating. Do I think he cheats in every tournament? No. Does it mean I look at every single result he's had and just go, like, that tiniest bit? Yes. Growing up, playing Magic, trying to get better at Magic, I love the Peach Garden Oath. Reed Duke, Owen Turtenwald, and Huey Jensen. Reed Duke is still in the scene, one of the most well-respected people. Billy Jensen is now part of the reason why play design is even still a thing, and we actually have the Pro Tour. And Owen Turtenwald is a piece of shit human being who I never want to watch play Magic ever again. Even when I'm going back and looking at my nostalgic Pro Tours, I skip those matches because I don't want to think about him and I don't want to think about the things he's done and the people he's hurt. Seth Manfield is none of those things for asking his opponent, hey man, can I take that back? And his opponent saying yes. That is not the same thing. If you want to go, hey, this thing happened, I'm not comfortable with it, like whether that was behavior at a tournament, like I'll mention Wolfie, who is the I would argue, the greatest Pokemon VGC player of all time,
Yeah.
and someone I follow on YouTube, does fantastic content, even if you're not interested in Pokemon, had to put a video up and say, I can't attend in-person tournaments anymore because I'm being sexually assaulted at them. Call
Crazy.
that out. Call that out. That shit needs to be fixed. That shit needs to be eradicated from these scenes. It is not okay.
Yeah.
It is not the same thing as asking your opponent for a take backsy.
Yeah, like content, like not to play content cop, but like I feel like we're at a point where TCG content, I'll say, because it's because we see it beyond Magic. You need to know your lane. I'll actually give you. Do you know what? I'll give you, if you want to be the wild like hate bringer, sort of rumor miller. You know, you've got your what's his name, Keemstar, right? Like people like that, right? It's faffy bullshit. It is actually sometimes predatory, sometimes targetary, but at least he stays in the lane. At least he doesn't suddenly start to try and like like give away
Just
like
get
$1
the
million
cheap
to
fee.
kids.
Yeah.
He's just a sad loser, right, at all times. Like, if you want to be in our game and you want to be talking about a card game and having fun with it and making the most out of it, cool, be here. But if you want to start like going like, oh, look at that, so many of them have come out and gone, oh well, if you'd actually watched the video, I wasn't actually that bad. Yeah, but like you stuck it out there, and it's like you tell your kids, right? As a dad of a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old, you tell my kids, you sometimes just can't say some stuff in public, because whether you thought you were joking, the effect that someone hearing that in the wrong way could literally lose me my job, literally lose me my not being in prison, because you have to put out into the atmosphere stuff which is stuff that you is not even tinged with that. And
shout out Christmas special, by the way. This is a heavy as fuck topic for this, isn't it? Good Lord.
But we want to leave all that in 2026 and 20. Well, no, we won't leave it in 2026.
No, we'll leave it in
We're not even there
2025,
yet.
thank you.
And we just want to go to the fact that yes, Samaha is in place now. The judge program manager, which is very important because obviously not necessarily head judge, which means like the judge program manager, which means they're making a program so judges exist so that competitive play is supported correctly. And from what we can tell, supported correctly all the way down the pyramid, down to the stores, which are considered part of the Wizards Play Network.
RCQs require judges?
Stores require people to know how the game is played for them to be able to sell the product. Like this stuff as a man of the corporate world, I do appreciate that we do go around in cycles and circles, and we usually end up back exactly where we started the transformational journey. But we are back at the start of the transformational journey, where ultimately the competitive side of the game has had problems for years. We've tried to patch them, we've tried to fix them, and now we've realized we can't really have a good judge program unless we actually have a judge program.
We need a judge program to support everything from it's like football, right? Like you watch the Premier League and it's a great spectacle and all of this, and then you see people talking about football and they talk about the grassroots. Like the grassroots is like RCQs and people playing on their kitchen table and then feeling comfortable to move from there into the LGS, and then they go from turning up with their cards and going, hey, like, what's this format? Oh, standard. What does that mean? Then they go home and Google it, and then they go on YouTube and they type in MTG standard, and then Kibler's most recent video pops up, and then they go and buy all the cards in the Naya shard that say dragon on them, and they play that and they have a great time, and then they move from there to an RCQ, and then they start looking at metadata. They're talking to people at the tournament, blah, 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 all that stuff. That's a really important pipeline that hasn't really existed. We've seen it as TOs where getting people to move from pre-release to honestly, move to Commander. I'm happy with that. More warm bodies in the LGS is a good thing, even if you're in a corner with your mates playing Commander, because at some point, one of you is going to walk over and go, right, let's see what this standard is about. I enjoy the casual stuff, but I also want a little bit of competition in my life. And people will go the other way as well. People will finish a standard F&M and go, oh, you know what? I got my commander deck on me. I might try and jump in a pod for a game. That is the absolute ideal. For all of that, you need a judge program that covers the entire path up, because you need someone to explain how the game works. It is a extremely complicated game, and especially in the modern day, every single card has a novel of text on it, so understanding the rules is more important than ever. But also, you can speak to that judge and go, right, I have played a couple of F&Ms. What's an RCQ? I've heard people say, oh, there's an RCQ this weekend. What does that mean? And it's like, well, it can qualify you to the regional championship. That's been Turin, take your pick. You need that support in place. The reason why things like Pauper and Pre-Modern survive despite that is they're community run, so you essentially have that kind of judge impetus because people care about those formats differently to standard.
Yeah, and old judge programs, again, I sort of suddenly saw like the back end of judge programs whilst they were, should we say, quote unquote, outsourced to Judge Academy and places like that, was given like the carrot and the stick of like, hey, if you're around for a quarter and at the end of that quarter you come to a conference, you're going to get a couple of £100 worth of promo value.
And then it was basic lands with owls hidden in them, and then it was nothing.
Yeah, so that disappeared to guts.
You know, Gaia's Cradle was a judge promo once upon a time.
Yeah. Obviously, Edgar Markov, which was like the pricey card forever because of its status of a judge promo. But how can they reconnect the whole dot between the WPN network? Is this going to be something where we're going to? The only real answer is going to be to say to a store, one of your employees must have a qualification.
Whether it's one of your employees has this qualification or you functionally employ someone on a contractor basis, whether that's to run F&Ms or if F&Ms don't require judges, which I don't think they need to, speaking as an F&M TO.
No.
I think pre-releases could do with a judge, like a qualified one. I think RCQs basically require them. And then everything else, it's on the, like for us, it's Fanfinity and it's their responsibility to find judges. And the people that judge are people from the old judge program or people that they have introduced to the judge program as it exists now.
I think the thing when you look at that level as well, and I have a lot of high level respect for people who are judging at the Fanfinity area, the Axion area. You all are very knowledgeable and fantastic at what you do.
Lovely people as well.
But I will say, from a point of view of like the day in, day out engagement at LGS, if you polled them and they like would being polled with a gun to their head because they might be concerned like, oh, do I need to say certain things? They're not embedded in the way that they were into sort
because
of
there's no incentive.
Because there's no incentive. Yeah,
it's the exact same issue that hits judges is the same issue that's hitting standard players. And I said it when we started doing the podcast, I'll keep saying it now. Make store championship promos better. In fact, do a store championship. Make RCQ promos better. Like, incentivize people to go out and play the bloody game. Judge promos. If you make a judge promo an exclusive card, with the way the current Magic economy is set up, they're going to sell like hotcakes. And that doesn't mean that you turn around and do Phyrexian Elishnorn as a secret lair and you spit in the face of every judge who got one of them and held on to it because it was meaningful to them or sold it for £250, £300 because that's how they essentially get paid for working as a judge. You can do that. There is nothing stopping them doing a judge promo Mox Opal. There is nothing stopping them doing an RCQ promo Wan Shitong, Shieldred the Apocalypse. Also, have you seen, by the way, Alt Art Wan Shitong is $70.
I know. And the cub is falling down to earth, believe it or not.
And it's an in-print bloody set. And booster boxes need to be cheaper. That's an old argument, but make RCQ, like, why is the top 8 promo not Badger Mole Cub? Are you seriously going to sit there and tell me that R&D, even in their limited testing, didn't think Badger Mole Cub was coming in pretty high on rate?
Well, 1 year out from this current season, right? So if we gave credit for that, all right, it takes 9 months to send something to print and get an alternative art, right? You actually don't even really need to get an alternative art, like, as well. Like, that's something sort of.
Do it as like an old border and do the shooting star on it. Bang.
Yeah. You could have had this for this current season. So we don't actually still know what the season is in March. We still know only we have standard till then. But let's just say you go.
I'll tell you for free, it'll be standard again.
But let's just say they know it's going to be modern, right? Like they could have in this little window since now gone, oh yeah, looks like Oculus is going to see play. Let's give that as the promo for turning up.
Don't even do a standard card.
That's what I mean.
Ocelot Pride.
Yeah, and Ocelot Pride has already smashed it. So let the winner's card be, or top 8 card be Ocelot Pride.
Yeah, and have the top 8 card be Ocelot Pride. So the people that really want Ocelot Pride are incentivized to go to their other people in their LGS who top 8 and go, you're going to play modern. Like, can I get this Ocelot Pride? It's something that I've done a lot. I really like the top 8 Firestorm Games stamped ones. That's our LGS. We've mentioned them a good few times. If I sit there with a playset of top 8 Firestorm Games stamped cards, I really enjoy that because I'm repping my local store and I get the cool art. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is a great like winners promo, that sort of thing. Ocelot Pride, have it as the top 8 promo and then have a completely different card as the winners promo. Have that be Psychic Frog, Kozilek's Command. Take your pick. There's so many cards in Modern that are so expensive. Have the participation promo be, I'm not going to say Unholy Heat because that's already been done, but something in that vein.
Consigned to memory.
Consigned to memory. A perfect one. That would be so good. I was going to say like Galvanic Discharge, but Consigned to Memory is so perfect for it. Why is that not being done?
I think we're just missing. And I think...
bollocks. You don't miss and do Reality Smasher and Void Winnower. That is a conscious effort to say, here's cards that are largely unappealing, but then the winner's promo is a commander card because we're trying to get some commander players to come and try standard once, because again, we only care about short-term bottom line, and the standard players only care because they can turn around to a commander player and sell it.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and let's just continue to realize that we are 2 different games. Like we use the same ecosystem, but people who want to play Constructed, if the rewards of playing Constructed reflected the buy-in, then more people will play Constructed, and a continual cycle there. So let's see more. Let's see the whole of Boris Energy put into some kind of like promo the whole of next year, because that's what you want to do. That's what you want to, for your relatively low skilled new up and comers. That would be a perfect deck to be pushing your starter modern players towards, who want
don't do Goblin Charbelcher Flare of Denial, like, yeah, don't do that shit. But
and no more fucking Allosaurus Rider bullshit, because I saw Jack Goldie from Chad Magic turn 2 people this weekend in the Chad Magic Invitational, and I don't want to see any of that. But we won't talk about that, because if you want to see that, go watch the Chad Magic episode on that now, because they did a great thing raising like over 1,400 quid for a War Child. So that was I think they're giving there's more in the video if you want to go and see that. But we went off topic, surprisingly enough, for the Christmas episode again, to talk a little bit about Sammy Ha. I tweeted this and actually said, please, can we just keep her out of the void for the next year? Can people not, when there's like either like a bad judge decision or there's an RCQ where you had a bad call, can you
people
please
like berate them on Twitter?
Yeah, can you please not? Because they've got their impact is about a year out from here. So And that's the start of their impact. That's not it completely changed. Like we said about Huey Genshin, right? Like we've always talked nicely about Huey and sort of always like waxed lyrical that in general is doing great things. Same for our belief that Cedric Phillips is in the process of changing great things. I think for me, I've got like a little bit of I'll judge Huey on the 2026 report card. And this is from here on out, then that would be my, are you consciously making it better? And
I mean,
someone
even if you judge just on 2025, though, it's improved.
There was an actual thing that I saw again on the classic slot machine of Twitter, is that when we had the judge program announced, there was a sort of a 2025 outcomes, a return to PT, a return to Grand Prix, and okay, let's just say, I think at this point, Spotlight Series and Grand Prix, they're good enough, right? They're back. Regular Pro Tours and a judge program being reinstated, and the limited format thing being announced.
Desperately trying to keep that above water.
That's a good bit of work to internationally roll out. Like, this isn't just like suddenly doing a 32 cap event in your local LGS. This is like, across an international scale. Yes, with international resources, granted, but yeah, we seeing decent things, and we will see more from obviously the judge program higher. Let's hope we get a revitalization of the whole ecostructure all the way down to the LGS level for involvement. And it is the kind of thing, though, that's going to be somatic with this end of the year, though. This will be the end of season going forward. We're going to start seeing from next year that this will be us sunsetting things out to pasture. Then when we come back for the first set of the new year, there will be a rotation. So nicely positioned is going to be things like what we've had for a couple of years, obviously what we are doing ourselves, the Invitational, but there's going to be the end of season top tournaments. We've seen a couple this weekend just gone where we saw NRG hosted their overall champs. I will admit, following through some of the things they posted online, I think a bit of a complicated structure. I feel like you needed to have an abacus out and some kind of like Ouija board to understand how they chose things and how they got there. But all I can say is all those players were clearly better Magic players than me, and eventually we saw absolutely stacked top 8 lead up to Mark Mason winning that tournament overall. Scott, did you sit and watch much of that, or were you as little bit bewildered as me of how did we get there?
I didn't know it was going on because people's publicization of Magic tournaments sucks at the best of times, and when a lot of Magic players in the sphere of Magic didn't know that the World Championships was happening when it was happening, and it's the biggest tournament of the year. What is ostensibly a independent tournament circuit that isn't as big as Star City was. You're not going to hear very much about it, but all the players are absolute heaters. And I did have a little look at the rules breakdown, and all the MVP stuff was a bit complicated. But other than that, it's basically draft standard modern.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool way to do it. I think putting people over multiple formats is a really fun idea to really test people, right? That's one of the things that at least I enjoy about the Pro Tour as a draft enjoyer by and large, is the fact that you see limited specialists and constructed specialists, and you see people who are really good at both. And it's like Ken Yukihiro, I think they said this on Unsleeved as well. Ken Yukihiro had a really good year. He was let down by his limited play so much. Do you want to know what his record was in constructed?
I bet he had like a 73% win rate.
In standard, in standard specifically. So we're not counting the modern Pro Tour.
I reckon 88%.
He went 30-4 in standard constructed.
Against like at all times the best like 150,
hmm
200 players in the world.
hmm
That's crazy.
But he was let down by draft. So I find that really interesting. That's really, really good. Have a mixture. Have the Spotlight Series, have the GPs where your Brad Nelsons and your Corey Baumeisters of the world can come out and do really well. Have your Pro Tours where you need the mixed format specialists, the people who can pivot on a 5p piece onto a different deck for what is right for the weekend. Have these completely split tournaments where, by and large, if you're doing more than 2 formats, so 3 or more, the best players are going to rise to the top. And Nathaniel Perigo, Casey Ryback, Grayson Nemitz, Ryan Hayes, AJ Ellen Bogan, Jesse Hampton, they're all absolute badasses.
Yeah. What an interesting way though that the actual top 8 went, with the fact that they did a draft and then the lowest seed into the quarterfinals blocks the format they don't want to play, and then the highest seed picks what's left. So that's interesting, because then, like, if you're the lowest seed but like you had a heater of a limited deck, you could like leave limited in, but then you could be risking that you've got a bad matchup into their modern and standard decks. So like they did a really interesting thing there, and I'm glad to see that this sort of like secondary tier of Magic events sort of are mixing it up enough to like make it interesting to play. Even though obviously, yeah, there was still 10 G's on the line, right? So like, it's not, that's incredible. Like what was that? That was like a 30 person to no 24 person tournament. So like, the odds of winning 10 G's out of 24 people is pretty good. It'd be nice. Obviously, we have yet to share Axion Now's plans for 2026. We'll see here in the UK. We've leaned quite into modern over the last couple of years, and again, I understand it. It's like a popular format. It's what people like to play. But I'd love to see, for the love of the game, there be a little bit more variety on how people could make that end of season. Like maybe like at the gathering events, not only have a mega modern, but also have a large limited as well. And like have all these things count together, and yes, bring the
Yeah,
mega pauper back.
if you're doing an invitational and you're already doing limited events that are big limited events, you're doing pauper, you're doing modern, even if your standard gets 60 players, have the winner come to the invitational. Even if they can't make it, that's
Yeah.
fine. That is what it is. But give us more things to play for, right? Give us more reasons to come out and come to the tournaments, as opposed to just sitting there looking at the calendar, looking at the upcoming tournaments and going, you know what? I can't be bothered. I've spent a lot of money this month. Fuel prices are up. Everything prices are up. I can't really afford it. As opposed to when you were a 19-year-old psychopath going to a GP stuffed into the back of a Vauxhall Corsa with 5 mates, you're all sleeping in a single hotel room on the floor, and you're just going for the love of the game and to compete because there was a reason to. Bring that back.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't whack it back 20 years, because we need to go back 25 years for me to have the fringe.
Yeah, I'm not sure my back could take that at this point, and I'm fully reformed and gentrified. I'm like a feral house cat that you've brought in, where if I need to, I'll get back in the trenches and piss on someone. But by and large, I'm spoiled. I want a bed. I want food. These are the things that I require. And I'm not going to go back to the world where I wasn't eating so I could play an extra draft.
That wasn't good life advice, let alone financial advice.
No, it absolutely wasn't. I never made money. It was horrible. But it was good fun.
And that's what Magic should be going into 2026. And we
Yeah.
look to have much more fun with you lot, the community, the events that we run in. And as we mentioned at the start of the episode, if you are still here, like an hour and 20 minutes in, you are a true trooper. But our after our Invitational, our first main event is going to be on the 21st of February, where we will be hosting a dual Legacy and Standard day. The Legacy is playtest friendly because it's part of the European Legacy Masters series. Again, we'll have more information about that on our socials so that you can obviously turn up with reasonable decks, because playtest friendly doesn't mean we're going to accept mountains and you just scribbled card on the back. You got to do a little bit more effort than that. Lots more of that throughout the whole of 2026 across the UK. If they do well in the UK, beyond. Nah, let's just be real. Probably just the UK. We'll leave that to some of our friends and partners in America for promoting what they do, and we will see you with more and more of events that will be community-based, community-driven, and focusing on giving you great value for coming out and playing the Magic events that you love. That is going to be the overall goal, because yes, we sit, we moan, we talk about how it becomes hard to do, but ultimately it's because of our love and our target to want to help you get your deck out wherever you can get it out, however you can get it out. We're at all times available to get it out on the table, ready to play some Magic. On that
Wise words.
On that note, please join us over the break. Any videos that go out are going to be targeted on fun things to do for 2026, the run up for the Invitational. Scott is going to be hosting through my misplays on the 4th of January about how in my attempt to try and win back all the money we spent on the event. We will see you then. If you haven't yet subscribed, come on, let's just get over the 750 barrier for everybody, please.
If you haven't subscribed and you've listened to us ramble on about bollocks for the last hour and 20 minutes, what the hell are you doing?
But if you are listening on YouTube and you haven't, we get a link Spotify down below. We don't ever really push that, but Spotify told us the other day for our listener numbers, we haven't got enough subs. So go follow over there to stop Spotify telling me that I'm not doing a good job at social media. And whilst you're at it, click on the Discord and come join the Discord. It is the full Get Your Deck Out Discord. It's one of the largest ones in the UK for just general shit talking and playing the game. Happy holidays. Enjoy what you're doing wherever you are. For me and Scott, we will see you on the next one after the big man's been to talk more Magic.
Am I the big man?
In this context, yes.
Yeah.